What if I told you that one of rock's most iconic voices had a secret buried for decades? One that even her closest bandmates never knew. Stevie Nicks, rock's mystical queen, and the voice behind some of Fleetwood Mac's greatest hits, has captivated fans for decades. From her spellbinding stage presence to her deeply personal lyrics, she has always carried an air of mystery. Now, Stevie is finally breaking her silence, revealing a truth that has left fans stunned and reshaped the story of Fleetwood Mac. Let's dive into the untold truth that Stevie kept secret for several years. The golden era of Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac's golden era was a time of unmatched musical brilliance, mixed with a great deal of personal turmoil and unparalleled success. The band was originally formed in 1967 as a British blues outfit, but later underwent several transformations before reaching its peak in the mid-1970s. It was during this period, with the addition of Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks in 1974, that Fleetwood Mac cemented its place as one of the most iconic rock bands in history. Their chemistry, both musically and personally, set the stage for an era of unforgettable songs, record-breaking albums, and legendary performances. In 1975, Fleetwood Mac released their self-titled album, marking the beginning of their rise to the front page of superstardom. With mega hits like Rhiannon and Landslide, the album showcased the band's new sound, a blend of folk, rock, and pop that resonated with millions. But it was in 1977 that Fleetwood Mac reached an unimaginable level of success with Rumours, an album that would become one of the best-selling records of all time. The album was a masterpiece, featuring classic tracks like Go Your Own Way, Dreams, Don't Stop, and The Chain. What made Rumours even more compelling was the drama that unfolded behind the scenes. The band was entangled in a web of romantic entanglements, breakups, and emotional turmoil. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks were ending their long-term relationship. John and Christine McVie were divorcing, and Mick Fleetwood was going through his own personal struggles. Despite, or perhaps because of, these tensions, the band poured their emotions into the music, creating an album that captured both heartbreak and resilience. The golden era of Fleetwood Mac wasn't just about the music, it was also about their electrifying performances. The band's live shows were filled with raw energy, passion, and a sense of unpredictability. Stevie Nicks, in particular, became a symbol of mysticism and enchantment, mesmerizing audiences with her flowing outfits, twirling dance moves, and haunting vocals. Though the band faced internal conflicts, their music continued to define a generation. Fleetwood Mac's golden era was more than just a peak in their career. It was a defining moment in rock history. Their legacy endures even till date, which goes a long way to show that even chaos can be used to produce great art and raw talents. Behind the music, the price of fame. Fleetwood Mac's rise to fame came at an extraordinary cost. While their music was topping charts and filling arenas, the members were privately struggling under the immense pressure that came with success. The weight of their stardom was not just about keeping up with the expectations of millions of fans. It was about managing the chaos within their own ranks. As they delivered one hit after another, their personal lives unraveled, proving that fame often comes with a price few are prepared to pay. By the late 1970s, Fleetwood Mac had reached the pinnacle of rock superstardom. Their album Rumours sold millions of copies worldwide, and the band had become a cultural phenomenon. But behind the music, the story was far from glamorous. Every member of the band was dealing with deep emotional wounds stemming from broken relationships and the constant scrutiny of the media. The very conflicts that fueled their most powerful songs also created an environment of unbearable tension. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, once lovers and musical soulmates, were now barely able to speak to each other outside of their performances. John and Christine McVie, who had once shared a marriage, now had to endure each other's presence on tour while pretending that nothing had changed. Mick Fleetwood, the band's drummer and founding member, struggled with his own demons, including financial mismanagement and personal heartbreak. The band members found themselves trapped in a cycle of writing songs about their pain, performing them for millions, and then reliving the same anguish night after night. To cope, they turned to excessive indulgence in the use of powder, with the acting as both an escape from their painful realities and a means to push through their exhausting schedules. Their lavish lifestyle, filled with wild parties, luxury hotels, and endless travel, only deepened their struggles. The fame they had worked so hard for over the years quickly became both a blessing and a curse. Despite their personal battles, Fleetwood Mac continued to make music that resonated with audiences. But as the years went on, the cost of their success became more apparent. Behind the music, they were no longer just bandmates. They were survivors, paying the heavy price of fame. The secret struggles of a rock goddess. To the world, Stevie Nicks was the epitome of rock and roll royalty, an enchanting force with her flowing shawls, powerhouse vocals, and mystical stage presence. She commanded audiences with her performances, exuding confidence and an almost otherworldly energy. But behind the stardom, behind the powerful image, Stevie Nicks was waging battles few ever knew about. While fans saw her as untouchable, she was privately struggling with demons that threatened to consume both her career and her personal life. One of her greatest struggles was her battle with addiction. By the early 1980s, Nicks had become deeply reliant on a substance that was almost synonymous with the rock and roll lifestyle of the era. What began as an occasional escape from the pressures of fame quickly spiraled into a dangerous dependency. The drug fueled her creativity, but it also stole her peace, leaving her physically and emotionally exhausted. She later admitted that pain ate so deep into her life that she barely recognized its grip on her until it became life-threatening. The turning point came when doctors warned her that continued use could result in a brain hemorrhage. Forced to confront the reality of her addiction, she checked herself into rehab, beginning a long and painful road to recovery. But wasn't her only battle. Shortly after overcoming one addiction, Nicks found herself trapped in another. Following her time in rehab, she was prescribed Klonopin, a sedative meant to help with anxiety and prevent relapse. Instead, it became an even darker force in her life. The drained her of energy, dulled her creativity, and left her feeling like a shadow of the woman she once was. For nearly a decade, Nicks was caught in the grip of this addiction, unable to recognize how much it was altering her personality and her music. Beyond addiction, Nicks also faced the pressures of being a woman in a male-dominated industry. She fought tirelessly to be taken seriously, often having to assert her independence in ways her male counterparts never had to. Through it all, she kept up her enchanting image, never letting the world see the turmoil within. But the weight of her secret struggles was more than she could carry alone, and it would take years before she finally found the strength to break free. A love triangle that shaped a generation. Fleetwood Mac's music wasn't just about melodies and lyrics. It was raw emotion laid bare, a reflection of the stormy relationships that brewed behind the scenes. At the heart of it all was a love triangle so intense, it became one of the most infamous sagas in rock history. Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, and Mick Fleetwood. Their entanglement was not just personal, but deeply intertwined with the band's success, shaping some of the most iconic songs of a generation. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham had been inseparable since their early days as struggling musicians. They were partners in life and music, dreaming of making it big together. When they joined Fleetwood Mac in 1975, their chemistry electrified the band's sound. But fame and pressure quickly exposed cracks in their relationship. Buckingham's controlling nature and Nicks's growing independence clashed, leading to a bitter and painful breakup. Yet, unlike most exes, they had to stand side by side on stage, pouring their heartbreak into songs like Go Your Own Way and Dreams. Their pain fueled their art, but it also kept old wounds open, creating an unbearable tension within the band. As the dust settled on their relationship, another shocking twist emerged. Stevie Nicks found herself entangled with Mick Fleetwood, the band's married drummer. It was an affair neither of them had planned, and one that would have lasting consequences. Mick, who was in the middle of a crumbling marriage, sought comfort in Stevie, and she, still nursing the wounds of her split with Buckingham, found comfort in Mick's arms. But what began as a moment of escape soon became a burden. When the truth came to light, it sent shockwaves through the band and their circle of friends. The love triangle left scars, not just on the individuals involved, but on Fleetwood Mac as a whole. Yet, in a strange way, it also solidified their legacy. The passion, the heartbreak, and the turmoil all bled into their music, giving the world anthems that resonated for generations. Even as relationships changed and hearts were broken, the music remained, a clear evidence of the love and chaos that defined an era. But was it truly worth risking everything to protect their secrets as a band? The mysterious disappearance. At the height of Fleetwood Mac's remarkable success, she was awarded the huge rank of being the face of rock and roll. But then, out of the blue, she seemed to have vanished into thin air. While the band continued to tour and record, there were stretches of time when Stevie seemed absent, her presence fading from the public eye. Fans speculated, the media whispered, and rumors swirled about what must have really happened. Some claimed she had secretly left the band. Others believed she was dealing with a serious health crisis. And then there were those who insisted it was something far more sinister, a breakdown caused by years of internal band drama, heartbreak, and the crushing weight of fame. But Stevie herself, she remained silent. Behind the scenes, the truth was far more complex. After years of grueling tours, substance abuse, and emotional turmoil, Stevie reached a breaking point. She had pushed her body and mind beyond their limits, leading to what she would later describe as a total collapse. Doctors warned her that if she didn't slow down, the consequences could be irreversible. It wasn't just exhaustion, her health was on the line. And for the first time in her life, she had to make an impossible choice: keep going or disappear. Stevie stepped away from the band temporarily, retreating from the relentless demands of the music industry. But even in her absence, whispers of her whereabouts kept people guessing. Some reports suggested she had checked into a secret facility, while others claimed she had gone off the grid entirely, seeking refuge in remote locations. The truth? She was fighting to regain control of her body, her mind, and, most importantly, her life. Years later, Stevie would open up about this dark period, revealing that her so-called disappearance was not just about survival. It was about reclaiming her identity. What she endured during that time would change her forever, shaping her as an artist and as a woman. But even after all these years, one question remains: what was she really running from? And more importantly, who was she trying to protect with her absence? A shocking revelation: the secret she kept. For decades, Stevie Nicks silently harbored a painful secret that she tactfully tucked away behind her larger-than-life performances. One so deeply buried that even those closest to her in Fleetwood Mac had no idea. Through the whirlwind of heartbreak and personal struggles surrounding her career success in Hollywood, she managed to keep her secret hidden away from prying eyes, guarding it fiercely with all her heart and soul. Fans speculated about the highs and lows of her life, but this revelation was something no one saw coming or could have ever guessed. It wasn't just about love triangles, fame, or addiction. This was different, something that shaped the very core of her existence. For years, Stevie had lived under the weight of a choice she had made, a decision that changed her life forever. She had been at the peak of her career when it happened, a moment so private yet so defining that she knew it could alter how the world saw her. In a candid interview decades after the height of Fleetwood Mac's fame, Stevie finally opened up. She revealed that during the band's golden era, she had become pregnant. The father? None other than one of her bandmates. It was a moment that should have been joyous, but for Stevie, it was anything but. She was in the middle of a relentless touring schedule, tangled in complicated relationships, and struggling with an addiction that threatened to consume her. Faced with an impossible decision, she made a heartbreaking choice, one that she rarely spoke about, even to those she loved most. She terminated the pregnancy, believing that bringing a child into her chaotic world would have been unfair. "I couldn't have had a baby," she later admitted. "I could barely take care of myself." The revelation stunned fans and even those who thought they knew her best. It wasn't just the secret itself, it was the pain behind it, the silent suffering she had endured alone. For Stevie, this choice was one she never forgot, a hidden scar that shaped the rest of her life. Even now, as she reflects on that time, she wonders, what if? What could have been? But one thing is certain. This secret was one of the hardest burdens she ever carried throughout her career. Beyond the emotional toll and the strain on her personal life, Stevie Nicks' long-held secret also had profound effects on her career, finances, and creative control in ways few ever realized. While Fleetwood Mac's success skyrocketed, Stevie faced silent battles that shaped the trajectory of her professional journey in unexpected ways. One of the most overlooked consequences of her silence was the impact it had on her financial independence. Despite being one of the most successful female musicians of her time, Stevie struggled with financial instability at various points in her career. Record label disputes, mismanaged funds, and the sheer cost of maintaining the high life of a rock star took a toll. Many artists of her era fell into financial ruin despite their fame. And while Stevie remained afloat, her hidden burdens made her particularly vulnerable to the industry's financial pitfalls. Had she revealed her secret earlier, her career path might have been drastically different, potentially leading her to make more strategic business decisions rather than operating under the pressure of secrecy. Another hidden cost of her silence was how it shaped the creative direction of her work. While fans marveled at her ability to write songs that felt deeply personal and raw, few knew how much her secret dictated the themes she explored. There were times she held back, reluctant to fully expose the truth in her lyrics. While some of her most iconic songs carried whispers of her hidden pain, the full story remained just out of reach. This limitation wasn't just personal. It affected how her music was perceived, analyzed, and even marketed. Would the industry have treated her differently if they knew? Would certain songs have been received with deeper understanding? Additionally, her silence influenced her ability to advocate for herself in a male-dominated industry. While she became a pioneer for women in rock, there were moments when she hesitated to fully assert her power. The weight of her secret made her cautious in negotiations, hesitant to push back against executives who sought to control her image and career. In the end, the true cost of her silence wasn't just personal. It rippled through every aspect of her life, shaping her legacy in ways even she couldn't have foreseen. The power of redemption and healing. For decades, Stevie Nicks carried the weight of her secret through life alone, allowing it to shape her decisions, perceptions, interactions, and even her art. But with the passage of time, she came to embrace an understanding, having experienced something far more powerful than secrecy: redemption. Her journey toward healing was neither quick nor easy, but it was necessary. In the 1980s, Stevie confronted one of her biggest struggles: addiction. The pressures of fame and personal battles had led her down a dark path, but she chose to fight her way back, seeking professional help and ultimately reclaiming control over her life. Through therapy and self-discovery, she realized that healing wasn't just about overcoming addiction. It was about making peace with her past and using her experiences to inspire others. One of the most profound aspects of redemption is the ability to touch others with kindness and compassion. Beyond her personal healing, Stevie has extended that gift to those around her, often in ways that go unnoticed. A heartwarming example of this occurred at a sold-out film center event. As fans lined up outside, hoping for a chance to see her, a mother and daughter stood quietly in the lobby. The daughter, a devoted fan in a wheelchair, had been corresponding with Stevie as pen pals for some time. They hadn't come expecting tickets, only the small chance that Stevie might know they were there. When a staff member passed their message along, Stevie immediately recognized the name and insisted on meeting them, even though it was time for her to take the stage. She knelt beside the young girl, held her hands, and spoke to her with heartfelt sincerity, making her feel truly seen and valued. As the mother wept with emotion, Stevie demonstrated that healing isn't just about personal redemption. It's also about lifting others up, offering grace, and making room for connection. Her music, too, became a vessel for healing. In songs like For What It's Worth and Landslide, she channeled her pain, resilience, and growth, offering solace to countless fans who saw their own struggles reflected in her lyrics. And as she stood before audiences, many of whom had followed her through every high and low, she realized that redemption wasn't about erasing the past, but embracing every chapter of her story. Stevie Nicks' journey has shown the world that healing is not impossible, no matter how rough and sketchy the road might have been. Her ability to infuse her pain into art, to forgive, and to show kindness in the smallest yet most meaningful ways reminds us all that redemption isn't just about personal survival, it's about how we choose to use our stories. Personal reflections. Despite her active lifestyle, Stevie Nicks maintains a candid and often humorous perspective on aging and mortality. She has openly joked that she might live to be 95, but she isn't exactly thrilled about the prospect. While some may find the idea of growing older daunting, Nicks approaches it with her characteristic wit and wisdom. Rather than fearing the inevitable, she chooses to focus on living each day to the fullest, doing what she loves, and continuing to create and inspire. For Nicks, aging is not a limitation, but a transformation. She acknowledges the changes that come with time, but refuses to let them define her. She has spoken about how she stays physically active to maintain her energy on stage, how she nurtures her creativity, and how she remains dedicated to her personal and artistic growth. Even as she embraces the wisdom that comes with age, she retains a youthful spirit that resonates in her music, performances, and interactions with fans. Another key part of Nicks' personal philosophy is her ability to find joy and fulfillment outside of music. While she has spent decades pouring her soul into her career, she also values moments of solitude, reflection, and self-care. She is known for her love of literature, poetry, and the written word, elements that have always played a crucial role in her songwriting. She has hinted at the possibility of writing a memoir, a long-awaited project that would offer fans a deeply personal look into her life, struggles, triumphs, and untold stories. What's next for Stevie Nicks? Can anything truly stop a rock legend who refuses to slow down? At 73, Stevie Nicks has already secured her place in rock history. But if there's one thing she's proven time and again, it's that she's far from finished. Unlike many of her peers who have stepped away from the spotlight, Nicks continues to push boundaries, reinvent herself, and surprise her fans in ways they never expected. The question now is, what's next for the rock goddess who refuses to fade into the past? For one, her passion for touring remains unchangeable. Despite the challenges that come with performing at her age, Nicks has made it clear that she still loves the energy of live shows. In recent years, she has continued to sell out stadiums, captivating audiences with her spellbinding performances and timeless music. Her set lists may have evolved, but the magic remains the same, proving that her connection with fans is stronger than ever. Beyond the stage, Nicks has hinted at new music, teasing the possibility of one last great album. While she has always taken her time with solo projects, her songwriting remains as poignant as ever. In an era where nostalgia and reinvention go hand in hand, a new Stevie Nicks album would not only be a gift to longtime fans, but also introduce her artistry to a new generation. Additionally, she has expressed interest in other creative ventures. Over the years, she has spoken about writing a memoir, something that fans have eagerly anticipated. Given the extraordinary life she has led, from the highs of stardom to the deeply personal struggles she has overcome, Her autobiography could offer an intimate glimpse into the mind of one of music's most enigmatic figures. Her influence also extends to film and television. With her deep fascination for storytelling and mysticism, Nicks has been involved in various projects, including her appearance in American Horror Story, Coven. Could there be more collaborations in the entertainment industry on the horizon? Perhaps even a Stevie Nicks biopic? Fans can only hope. Whatever the future holds, one thing is certain: Stevie Nicks is not done yet. Her legacy is still being written, and knowing her, the best may be yet to come. Stevie Nicks is more than just a rock star. She's an icon, a trailblazer, and a woman whose influence transcends generations. But beyond her artistic contributions, it is her resilience, honesty, and unapologetic individuality that have made her a legend whose impact will never fade. One of the defining aspects of Nicks's legacy is her role as a pioneer for women in rock. In an era when the industry was dominated by men, she carved out a space for herself, proving that a woman could not only stand alongside male rock stars, but also outshine them. She wasn't just a singer. She was a storyteller, a songwriter, and a performer who commanded the stage with a presence that was both mystical and magnetic. Her influence paved the way for countless female artists who followed, from Florence Welch to Taylor Swift, all of whom cite her as an inspiration. Her contributions to music extend far beyond Fleetwood Mac. While the band solidified her place in rock history, her solo career allowed her to push creative boundaries and establish her own identity. Albums like Belladonna and The Wild Heart showcased her ability to blend rock, folk, and mysticism into something entirely her own. Her songs, often filled with haunting imagery and raw emotion, continue to resonate with listeners, proving that great music has no expiration date. But perhaps the most remarkable part of Stevie Nicks's legacy is her authenticity. She never fit into the mold of what a female artist was expected to be, and she never tried to. Whether it was her signature bohemian style, her refusal to be boxed into a single genre, or her willingness to share both her triumphs and struggles, she remained true to herself. That honesty, more than anything else, is what keeps her relevant to this day. What's your favorite Stevie Nicks moment? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into music's most legendary icons, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.